Time to check in with Global Policy and Regulation Managing Editor Nick Day, who is also the editor of the State of Crypto newsletter. Welcome to the show, Nick. So Gary Gensler, the chair of the SEC, he has an appearance before the Senate Banking Committee this morning. He released some prepared remarks. What do we expect?
Good morning. Yes, Gary Gensler published his written testimony, and I think the key thing for me is, he kind of reiterated his existing talking points about, crypto companies interacting with the SEC. He's encouraging them to reach out. He's, said much the same as he said before about, looking for more information around the markets and stuff. But the key thing to me is that he said, in his view, any crypto trading platform or exchange that has, 50, whatever, a large number of assets listed probably has listed at least one, security, one asset that is, could be deemed a security under the SEC's purview. And therefore, he thinks that these trading platforms should register with the SEC as a, securities trading platform, which, in practice, who knows how this will play out, but it kind of feels like he's saying, any crypto exchange operating in the US that has listed, anything beyond Bitcoin and Ether should probably register as a securities platform with the SEC.
So, Nick, that's almost a Canadian approach, isn't it? Where you have the securities regulator regulating exchanges, basically, like we have with Ontario, correct?
Right. And yeah, that's exactly the difference between the US and Canada right now. Canada has the security regulators overseeing crypto trading platforms, but the US doesn't really have a federally designated regulator for crypto trading platforms. The spot markets are, sort of under the CFTC's purview, but the CFTC has said, we're only looking for fraud and malicious activity. We're not regulating the actual spot trading activity, whereas the SEC's purview is limited to securities trading, and that leaves a kind of gray area for exchanges that are, listing things like Bitcoin and Ether.
So, Nick, there's another thing from Gary Gensler that came out in the Wall Street Journal yesterday, which doesn't seem connected to crypto, but might be. And that is, Gensler said in the journal that the SEC might be forced to ban certain Chinese companies, a couple of hundred at least, from trading in the United States, not because of the companies themselves, but because in many respects they can't audit the auditors. U.S. regulators can't look into the books of the people who are auditing the companies that are trading in the U.S. And while that might not seem on the surface related to crypto, of course, we have the largest stablecoin operator out there, Tether, with a lot of commercial paper and some suspected to be traded in China. Is this related in any way to what the FSOC is doing and looking at whether or not stablecoins are a financial threat? In other words, are they saying, look, these companies are being audited by questionable auditors themselves. So if they're graded A and above, at least in China, that might not be correct. Therefore, could we see a ban on Tether in the U.S.?
I agree that I think, what Gensler said about auditing the auditors for, publicly traded Chinese companies might be related to the crypto industry. I think it's even broader than, specifically stablecoins or anything. A key theme of the SEC over the last couple of months has been looking for as much information as possible about these companies and assessing, what sort of oversight it should actually have versus what it currently has. And so, I can easily see the SEC saying, yeah, we need to be able to audit, these companies and the auditors that are looking after these crypto firms, because there's currently no protective oversight in place for a lot of them. As far as stablecoins go, Gensler has said in the past that he thinks, stablecoins that are backed by securities are themselves securities. And so that does seem to be a pretty strong argument from him about why, things like USDT, USDC might fall under the SEC's purview and, require registration and all of the legal hoopla that the SEC enforces.